And welcome to the first episode of FinServ Tech Oracles. I'm Johna Johnson. I'm here with my colleague Jerry Murphy, and we are ready to share our thoughts on technology for financial services firms. Jerry, you wanted to talk a little bit about the results of our recent enterprise AI research study, which included a special focus on financial firms. What are some of the key findings?
Right. Well, contrary to popular belief, I think, is that one of the things we ask people is, will the use of artificial intelligence actually reduce your headcount? Because our gut tells us, well, if you're using more automation, it ought to reduce your headcount. And overwhelmingly, people are saying no. We don't think using AI is going to reduce headcount. In fact, it may increase it. And while yes, some of those small routine tasks might be automated for lower skilled, redundant, boring types of jobs. In fact, it creates whole new service areas that you need to have people manage and lead and control. So while at first blush it seems kind of scary, AI is out for our jobs. In fact, it looks like people really believe, and it seems to be the case, that it actually creates new industry segments that you can take advantage of and grow in.
Well, that's actually pretty interesting. I know our research said that 57% said it wouldn't versus 27%. That's specifically within financial services, which was a little less vehement than overall. What do you think about that? What does that say to someone who's a technology professional within financial services? What should they think about? How should they take action based on this information?
Well, if I'm a technology professional, to me, it's actually a career opportunity. A lot of times, the places you get big gains, I mean, we certainly see this in companies, right? You got places like Google that didn't exist 20 years ago, and all of a sudden, it's the biggest company in the world. I think this is a huge opportunity where if you can identify ways to leverage artificial intelligence to get you into new markets, provide new different kinds of financial services, you can actually be at the vanguard of your company in creating new lines of business, new opportunities, which is can give you huge career progressions if you take time to invest in researching this and becoming the key guy or gal in this new area.
So basically, your recommendation to technology professionals in financial services is find out what your bank or credit union or insurance company is doing with AI and get in on it in some way, because that's a whole new career opportunity.
Absolutely.
What else?
Another thing we see is in roadblocks to adoption, right? It's like, what is it that makes it tough to adopt AI? Seems like it's really easy to adopt, right? Because you're seeing things like Chat GPT and Llama, these things that are just seem to be everywhere, so easy to get. The problem is, especially for financial services, is how do I protect that data? Because it's so ubiquitous to get this. The problem with things like Chat GPT is they have a lot of public data. Part of the issue with that is I actually can't verify that information is accurate. So making sure I have accurate information for my clients is a huge issue. Second one is, how do I protect my clients' data? Because part of the quid pro quo in using it is I will give you a bunch of data in exchange for you giving me data. So when I ask it questions, when I tell things about myself and my clients, that then potentially becomes part of the public realm. And there's a huge challenge if I've got a ubiquity of using technology and I really don't have any policies or issues of ways of thinking about how to protect it. That can be a huge problem. So financial service people are aware of these issues. I don't know how much they've actually dealt with them today, but I think people are going to have to really think hard about how it is that I'm using AI and making sure I can protect private customer information, financial information. I think those are probably the biggest roadblocks for financial services.
Well, interestingly enough, financial services firms are a third more likely to have adopted a digital ethics policy. So 43% versus 33% overall, defining a digital ethics policy as a way to a strategy and a framework for protecting privacy, protecting against bias, protecting intellectual property, and all the things that go with it. I'm not super surprised by that because financial services firms are very used to compliance and privacy constraints and regulatory constraints generally. But given that, uh, I would think that financial services firms have a pretty good handle on protecting intellectual property, at least compared to other organizations, and that they are less at risk because they're likely to be using their own private data. Is that accurate?
Well, that seems like it would be true. Although one of the findings of our survey also was when you asked who's using ChatGPT, financial services respondents said 87.9% of them are using ChatGPT today, compared to the rest of the industries being at 52%. So they're actually, even though you would think that, and yes, they certainly have digital ethics policies, they certainly think very hard about privacy. That is not stopping their employees from actually using ChatGPT today. So there's a little bit of a, not a little, there's a pretty big disconnect between what we know are their intentions and policies and what people are actually doing with some of these platforms.
That's actually very interesting. So if you're at a financial services firm and you're listening to this, you probably want to dig into the use of ChatGPT because of the risk to your intellectual property. So, with that, those are our top takeaways. Just a reminder: technology professionals should be thinking hard about getting into areas, initiatives, managing AI within their financial firms. And even if you have a digital ethics policy, you want to really think hard about how it's protecting your intellectual property. That's basically what you're saying, Jerry,
Right.
right?
But yes, but take the opportunity to learn about these things and think about it, because while there's a lot of issues that need to be dealt with, the potential for having it transform your industry are actually pretty big.
Which sounds great. And we'll talk about that more next week, unless something more topical comes up. Which reminds me to tell everyone thank you for watching. You can register for the entire series online. And next week, Tuesday, we're going to start right before the markets. So we're going to start at 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. And for the rest of the fall, you'll be seeing and hearing us at 9 o'clock before markets open on Tuesdays. Thank you for watching the premiere episode of FinServ Tech Oracles.
Have a great day, everyone.